Peter, this is a fast-breaking event right now, and we don't know exactly what it means because federal investigators who are probing it right now aren't certain what the significance is, but they're nervous enough about things to put a stop on things. All this stems from two men detained at JFK Airport. The men, both Saudi Arabian nationals, first aroused attention when they presented tickets for a cross-country flight that were dated 9/11, Tuesday, the day that the flights were hijacked and crashed into the World Trade Center and the Pentagon. Investigators were called and began to question them. The men said they were airline pilots and presented pilot licenses. That aroused more suspicions because of the background of this story that you all already know. They've been taken to a police facility at Kennedy Airport. They are being questioned still. Earlier today, and authorities are wondering if these events may not fit together, and we may have some videotape of this. At LaGuardia Airport, there was a brief evacuation. 3 men were arrested, or I shouldn't say arrested, were taken into custody there to be detained and questioned when they showed up at the airport with baggage marked crew. Law enforcement sources tell ABC News that their story about being crew for an airline also did not check out. So right now, investigators are trying to sort through who are the 2 men who are being detained at Kennedy Airport, trying to pass themselves off as airline pilots. Where were they going and why were their tickets from Tuesday? And who were the 3 men at LaGuardia Airport who had baggage marked crew who, according to authorities, apparently don't work for an airline?
Well, what we know is that the FAA has grounded all planes scheduled to take off from any of the 3 New York airports, and it's holding on the ground planes that haven't left yet from any other airports around the country that are bound into New York. The only planes that can land there are ones that are already in the air. All this because of, as you say, FBI activity, and what it is that they moved in and arrested 4 men as they were boarding a flight from Kennedy Airport. Apparently, these men were on the FBI's watch list, and there is one report that they carried pilots' licenses and had some forged documents. So 4 men have been arrested, and that's about all we know at this point.
Good evening. I'm Tom Brokaw, and here's what we know at this hour. It is shortly after 8 o'clock Eastern Time, and the FBI now has positively identified all 18 of the suspected hijackers. Before this evening is out, we could have photographs of them. 7 people are in custody at 2 New York airports tonight. Reportedly, they produced pilot licenses which appear to be counterfeit. There is now no service out of New York airports.
And John Miller's here again, and I just want to review this again, John, to make absolutely sure that everybody understands what it is we're talking about.
10 people are in custody. These 10 people, 9 men and 1 woman, attempted in 2 separate incidents today, one at 4 o'clock at JFK Airport, the other as late as 7:30 tonight at LaGuardia, to board national flights, one a United Airline flight with open full-fare tickets. They were armed with knives, carrying false identification, pilot certificates, and certificates from the Flight Safety International Flying School in Vero Beach, Florida, where federal authorities have told us 3 of the suspects from Tuesday's horror took their flying lessons. So this is certainly the main factor to closing New York airspace again this evening, and certainly a great concern among federal authorities that the implication is, because of the weapons, that this was another attempt of 2 separate teams to hijack 2 more aircrafts with people who were apparently qualified to fly commercial airliners on board.
So we know that there were 18 who went down with those 4 planes, but what I'm now being told is that there were more trained pilots.
In fact, a report today about a strange incident at New York's Kennedy Airport raises questions about how many attacks may have been planned but not carried out.
United Flight 23, scheduled to depart for Los Angeles, was boarding. There was some kind of an altercation involving 3 men described by a Port Authority of New York and New Jersey police source as Middle Eastern in appearance. Somehow, the source will not reveal the exact details. They attracted the suspicions of the gate staff boarding that flight. The staff had some kind of a verbal exchange and demanded that these 3 men leave the aircraft.
Was this a 5th suicide team?
Talking about classified information. John, you're looking at me like you have something to add.
Two relatively new wrinkles. Of the men arrested tonight at Kennedy Airport, they had tickets for the United Airlines flight from New York to Los Angeles on Tuesday morning, the time when all of this havoc began. But their flight was canceled as a result of the New York City police ordering Kennedy Airport shut down at the same time that the second plane hit the World Trade Center. So they never got off the ground. Those were the tickets they were trying to use tonight. This from Pierre Thomas, who covers the FBI and the Justice Department for us. They're now investigating if one of the other teams, the LaGuardia group, were the same individuals who also on Tuesday morning had tried to clear security, but knives and weapons were detected, and they simply backed out and walked away very quickly.
Okay, let me talk to Pierre Thomas directly. Pierre Thomas, who covers the Justice Department for us, is in the Washington Bureau. Pierre, do you want to add to this?
Yeah, Peter, exactly what one of my sources told me is that on Tuesday, 4 of these men showed up at JFK, attempted to board one of the flights, and were challenged at the ticket counter, according to my source. When they were challenged, they decided to leave and left very quickly. They left before the FBI could get there. Again, that's 4 of the men showing up on Tuesday morning, Peter.